5 years ago, when I was in Berea, I was very into Chinese language and culture, and I saw myself living in Asia. I wanted to live in China, but due to the pollution, I couldn't live there, so I thought that I wanted to live in Taiwan. So I picture myself living in Taiwan, working in Taiwan, traveling around Asia. I thought that I would end up in Asia, and actually I am not in Asia. I am in Arizona, in the US. I got married last year, and it's definitely not what I thought I would be 5 years ago. So that's a big change. Being still in the US, having just finished grad school, becoming a doctor, it's very different from what I thought I would be doing. I thought I would be traveling a lot. I still want to travel a lot, but this year, 2020, that just passed, was a complicated year, and we couldn't travel much. I thought one thing that is what I expected is my groundedness. 5 years ago, I felt lost in the world. I still felt like a little kid trying to figure out the world, my life. And I trusted that in 5 years I would feel more confident, more grounded, that I would have figured some things out. And that's how I feel now. I feel grounded. I feel happy. I feel confident. I feel that I am what I am supposed to be. That I've listened to my intuition. I have the lifestyle that I want. I have an online business. I'm also starting my own writing space to publish books. I get to travel. Pretty soon we'll be traveling again with David, my husband. So yeah, I feel grounded. I feel life is beautiful. That's how I feel.
I didn't think that far ahead when I was an upcoming senior in Berea, but I had a general expectation that I would be in the US at a grad school, probably studying biology. Well, in reality, I am at a grad school, but studying Buddhist philosophy, and not in the US.
So when I was a senior in Berea College, I expected that in 2020 I would still be in the process of finishing a PhD or in the middle of a PhD in computer science, maybe some computer vision project. And well, I'm not, so I'm not where I expected to be.
5 years ago, I expected that I would be working on my PhD. PhD normally takes about 5 years, so I did not expect much farther than that. In reality, I was working on the PhD. I finished it a year ago, and now I am married to Andres. We got married in Las Vegas in 2019 December, and one other surprising thing that happened is that I bought a house, and it's something that I didn't expect that I would be able to do until I would be 32 or 33, so it went a lot earlier than I expected. I'm really happy about it.
I had definitely planned to go to a grad school and finish up my master's and PhD, and I am where I plan to be. I am at finishing up my PhD program, and so grateful for that. And thank you again so much, Berea College. I cannot express my gratitude enough towards my amazing, exceptional professors there, amazing labor supervisors, wonderful friends. I miss Berea College, really, and it's just, if you're at Berea College and listen to this, make sure make sure you appreciate every single minute you get to spend there, because it's an incredible, very, very special place.
My biggest shift in perspective within the last 5 years is that realizing everything is not an illusion, but illusion-like.
I think in my case it would be mostly about marriage, because my friends know that I never really wanted to get married. I guess I really enjoyed my life the way it was. But then life has wonderful surprises, and now I'm married to a very kind, just wonderful person. So yes, I'm grateful for that as well.
Until my time in Berea, I was a very intellectual person, very rational. I lived my life following my brain, my intellect, and I used to push aside my emotional being, my spiritual being. And when I came to Arizona 4.5 years ago, and I joined the Happiness Lab at ASU, I started to be introduced to contemplative practices, to a spirituality approach, listening to my emotions, listening to my intuition. So my biggest shift in perspective has been the orientation that I have in my life. While before I used to be very intellectual, I used to ignore my emotions. Now I feel that I am a more well-rounded person. I consider my emotions. I listen to what my intuition, to what my soul wants. So there is more balance. There is balance between the emotional part of me and the intellectual. Now I understand that the intellect doesn't rule all my life. I have to leave space for the spirit to emerge, to guide me. And that is one of the things that has contributed to my sense of well-being, to my sense of happiness and fulfillment with my life.
I don't think I have one biggest shift that dramatically affected my life in a certain way, but I have little things that change along the way. One thing that I noticed is that within the last 5 years, I took more control over my own life. I stopped making excuses, and if there's a thing that I want, I would go after it. For example, if there are hackathons, I don't wonder too much about if I'm going to have a teammate or if I'm good enough or anything like that. I would just go after it and participate. It doesn't matter if it rains, it's not something you can control, but I decided that things that I can control, I'm going to control and do it. So in that sense, I felt more in control of things that I wanted to do and just go after them. For example, it doesn't matter whether it is raining or snowy or things like that. If there is an event that is open, if I can participate in, and if a rainy day is not an issue for me to sleeping anymore, so I would just go ahead and do that. So I feel good about it. I no longer wait for signs or another person's reply or waiting for a company to come with me. So that's one of the biggest shifts that I had in the last 5 years.
I think the biggest shift is that before, even though I always assumed that I would want to eventually own my own company, I had to have my own thing instead of working as an employee. That always seemed like something very far-fetched, and I didn't understand too much how businesses are run or created. In the last 5 years, I kind of got an idea that it's something that anyone can do, just need an idea and some execution plan. That's probably the biggest shift, maybe.
I don't know about many other people, but in my case, I think I've heard many people kind of talk about the notion of being a grown-up as something dreadful and and the death of fun. I could not agree with that. I think being an adult is amazing. I think it's so wonderful that we get to be in charge of our lives, that we get to make responsible financial decisions, responsible decisions towards our mental, spiritual, physical health. And as we get more older, we learn to understand what truly matters for us and not pay attention to things that bring unnecessary negativity in our lives. Yes, I have found being an adult quite delightful. So do not fear it if you're younger.
Well, so far they are pretty much what I expected. We had to deal with taxes, payments, bills, and the house. So far it's the same. So far it's what I expected it to be.
My initial expectation was that I would be fearless and graceful in handling the responsibilities of becoming an adult, but in reality it didn't turn out that way at all.
I did not expect anything specific to adult responsibilities in that sense, but I like being an adult. It has a lot of freedom, and you can go ahead and do things that you want. You have more financial freedom as well. And also recently when I bought the house, there was a lot of things that I had to go through, so those are kind of stressful, but at the same time very fun at the end when everything goes through smoothly. But before I got to that point, it's just anxiety inducing, too much paperwork to deal with, the house search, getting a good deal, things like that. Whether you have to make very big decisions, and that could affect your financial life in that sense. It's scary, but I feel confident about those kinds of decisions, and I'm happy that it went through smoothly, and the result was rewarding. Now, I also like the part about decorating the house and growing plants in the backyard, in the back patio, and setting up the furniture with Andres. So all the handiworks that we get to do in the house, it's very fun.
I really like being an adult. When I was in Berea, I remember I couldn't wait to have my own room, my own house, my own kitchen. I wanted my own kitchen, my own bathroom. I didn't want to have to share my bathroom with other people anymore, with like 50 girls in the dormitory. And now I have the lifestyle. I have a house, a beautiful house, where David and I live. We don't share the house with other people. We have a beautiful big backyard where we get to go outside and talk to our trees, dance around, lay down on our hammock. David gave me a hammock as a present a month ago. I get to cook in my kitchen. It's so beautiful. I get to manage my own time. And this is part of the life that I've created for myself, being able to manage my own hours. I always knew that I didn't want to work for anybody else. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to wake up whatever time I wanted, work from wherever I wanted, and that's the life that I've built for myself. So the adult that Erika is very happy. I wake up sometimes at noon, 10 a.m. I get to work from home. I get to cook whenever I want. I get to read a lot of books, and I love books. I have my bookshelf right here. If I shift the camera, which I don't want to do, you will see that I have a lot of books. And I love, actually, let me shift my camera a little bit so you get to see the books that we have. So it's really nice to be an adult and create my own schedule, do the things that I love. It's very fulfilling.
In the next 5 years, I would like to have my own company or some kind of online business where I offer some kind of service, probably automated, and something that has to do with programming, but I would like to have many different income sources, and just in general do things that I like. So that's what I see in the future if I can get that working.
I certainly want to have kids, and within the next 5 years, I am expecting that I would have 1 or 2 kids, and also some pets. I want dogs and also cats. Cats are preferable, but I know we're gonna have dogs too. And in terms of career, I have become a lot more career oriented, and I really like what I'm currently working on, so I want to advance further up in the field. So I expect that I will go ahead and advance in the ranks, and whatever I do, I'm gonna be better, try to be better in that sense.
Where do I see myself in the next 5 years? Whoa, that's a very long time. So far my life has been quite unpredictable, so I wouldn't want to have any specific expectation, but whatever I might be doing, I hope that I would be happy, healthy and content.
I think that in 5 years we'll probably have children. Probably, definitely we'll have dogs. I really want a dog. I see my family traveling around many countries. I know I will have published several books. I see myself as an internationally known author. That's what I have decided that I want to do in grad school. 2 years ago, I realized that I love writing and that I didn't want to have to go to an office. I didn't want to have a boss. I didn't want to have colleagues. So now I'm building that, thanks to my business also, that allows me to gives me money so I can write books, write stories. So I see myself happy with books, traveling the world, going to places to give talks about my books, giving signatures. Yeah, so definitely traveling. Traveling is going to be a key part of my life. I think we'll still be in the US, probably in Arizona. I want to spend time in Bolivia and in the US. I want to travel back and forth to be with my parents. So we'll figure out how to do that, when to do that, 1 month to travel there, 1 month to stay in Arizona. I see myself happy. I see myself fulfilled in 5 years. I also see myself helping. I want to help in sustainability projects in Bolivia, in the US. I would love to have an animal sanctuary where I help to protect dogs and other animals, but especially dogs.
I see myself teaching in a university. I would love to teach languages and culture. Literature, languages and literature, and I see myself absolutely loving it.
I'm proud. I don't like to use the word proud. I'll say happy. I'm happy. I'm appreciative that I have listened to my intuition and I have took the difficult step to go through a process of personal growth, to step out of my comfort zone, to face internal demons, internal fears, blockages, and that by facing things inside of me, karma that my soul had, I was able to grow. I overcame a difficult depression 2 years ago that was building up for the past 25 years probably, and I took the difficult step to open up to people and share about my experience. So that is the thing that I'm the most appreciative about myself, that I was brave, that I took the step to share my experience with people, because I want to help people. I want to help people to grow personally, to feel confident, happy, and I also feel happy that appreciative that I was brave to do something that is non-traditional. Many people are afraid to not align with what society does. They get traditional jobs, they want to fit in society, and I'm happy that my way of being doesn't allow me to do that, that my heart, my spirit makes me sick, it makes my body sick if I don't listen to what I want. So my body forces me to do things that I want. So I'm proud that I decided to start my own business, which is a hard thing. Starting your own business takes a lot of effort and strength, time. So I'm very appreciative that I had the willpower to do it, so that I can build the life that I want. And I'm appreciative for being a strong person. I was the one who started the relationship with David, who proposed marriage to him. I just listen to my intuition. I do what my spirit tells me that I should do. And by following my intuition, I have done amazing things that I'm happy about. So I'm appreciative for the person that my intuition, for my guidance. I'm really happy for all the beings that guide me in this life.
Well, maybe I got married, so that probably counts.
I mean, those of you who know me, this should not come as any surprise. My son, I'm just so proud of him, and anybody who has children, they know what I'm talking about, that these little humans are so intelligent, so wonderful, and they teach us so much more than we can ever teach them. I just think he's so precious and sweet and kind and a loving baby, and I'm so proud of him. Yes, he's wonderful. And the next thing would be definitely my job. My job is my second baby, even though it's older. I think I am one of the luckiest people in this world to be able to get paid for doing something that I cherish, and that is teaching. So yes.
One thing that I was proud of is that I was able to finish my PhD earlier, a year and a half earlier than I initially expected. And I also published a lot of papers. I put a lot of effort into them, and I was really excited when it got published and I was able to share the results with the world. So that was really exciting. And the other thing is having the ability to manage the finances well enough that I can now, afford to give back and get a house.
Okay, first I learned landscape construction, and I know how to operate a 100-year-old concrete mixture. I'll send you some photos so you'll know what I'm talking about. Second, I returned to and survived in South Asia so far. And third, I'm continuing dance, although in a different context.
I hope that I will never never change my giving and generous spirit.
I hope that I will keep prioritizing the things that are meaningful to me rather than being influenced or overburdened by the expectations of others.
Nothing. I don't mind changing any part of who I am, because that might probably lead to more success, hopefully. So I'm open to any change.
That would be my love for languages. Foreign languages are fun, and I hope to continue learning them until the day I shall depart from this world.
My childlike nature, I think. Actually, earlier today, David and I were talking about this video that I'm recording right now, and I was telling him that we are the linear family, and he asked me, "Why are you the linear family? What does that mean?" And I told him, well, when we were in college, we were a family. We consider each other like family, so we came up with a last name, Linear. And I explained to him that we are the linear family because it's a linear family. We don't have a hierarchy. There aren't parents. It's all linear. And then I told him, but Moon and I were the baby linears. We call each other baby linears. We are the babies. And he asked me why. And I told him, well, I think it's because of our childlike nature. And we also had baby bottles. I still have a baby bottle, by the way. One day more, when we see each other, we'll do a toast with our baby bottles. So I think that is the one thing that I hope. I mean, I don't hope. I will allow my spirit to guide me and be whatever I want to be. But I think that my childlike nature is something that won't change, which is the integral part of my being that allows me to be creative, spontaneous, happy, quiet, interested in things, obsessed with things. It's the part that allows me to be who I am. So I think that part is the one that will stay with me.
You know, nothing comes to mind, but that doesn't mean that I don't do anything strange. That may mean just I do it so much that it no longer seems strange. But truly nothing comes to mind. Yes, nothing. And you know, I also have a baby, so there is only so much room I can have for strangeness.
I don't think anything in particular. I have always been I'm a person of indoors, and I am not much of an outgoing person in that sense. So when the pandemic hits, the quarantine thing doesn't come to me as something new that could actually change my lifestyle. So I don't think I have developed any strange or interesting quarantine habits.
I am becoming more claustrophilic, and I enjoy being in a confined space. So as long as I have some sunshine, moonlight, and some nuts and grains to eat, I can stay in my cave for days and months.
So far, our lives haven't changed a lot, almost nothing since the quarantine or the pandemic and all the shutdowns started. We basically do the same thing that we did before. So for me, it doesn't feel like something has fundamentally changed, except that sometimes we receive, if we have to sell or buy things from people in the marketplace, we wear masks to meet them, but that's about it. It's been over 2 months since the last time we went out to do grocery shopping in person.
Because 2020, we were stuck. And a funny fact about that, David and I got married December 22nd, 2019, and the quarantine started in March 2020. We are still in quarantine, it's January 2021. So we were, until our first year anniversary, we were in quarantine for 3/4 of our married life. So that is a fun fact. A strange habit of the quarantine. I am a very quiet person. Well, with the crazy, some of you, yeah, especially Pio, she doesn't think I'm I'm quiet, but I'm very quiet. It's nice that I have a talkative husband because he's the one who does the talking with other people. But my way of being is very quiet. So during the quarantine, David started to work from home. He's a psychologist, so he can give therapy online. And that was very hard for me because before the quarantine, I had the house for myself. I used to work from home, and I love my silence, my quiet space. When he started working from home, that was hell because he loves to talk, and I was the only person around that he could talk to. It's a habit that I had was to, at the beginning, to argue with him, to become overwhelmed, and I wouldn't talk to him because I was overwhelmed with so much noise. I wanted to be alone. So that was initially the beginning of the quarantine. Let me think. A weird habit that is not a weird habit anymore for most people is that I would stay in my pajamas all day long. I wouldn't change clothes. I would wake up often. For like 6 months, I slept 12 hours a day. So I would go to bed at 10 p.m. and I would wake up at noon. So I slept for 14 hours a day. Yeah, I would go to bed at 10 p.m. I would wake up at noon, and I would stay with my pajamas for the rest of the day because the day was really short. So that was a habit that I had. I am breaking out of that habit now that it's January. Like, I'm not in my pajamas right now. I also started to cook more sophisticated meals. Another habit, David, I mentioned before that he gave me a hammock as a present. It's outside. I spent a lot of time in my hammock reading books. So those are habits. I don't think I have strange habits. Yeah, I'm a normal person in my own way.
Am I happy? Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy, and I feel like I have everything I want at this point, so I'm really content, and I'm also grateful for a lot of things that have happened and that have helped me come this far, especially my family, Berea College, and a lot of mentors and supervisors, and especially also Andres. He has been extremely supportive in helping me achieve my goals, and I'm really appreciative of that. And having a partner like him is a blessing, and I'm really happy with him. He makes me very happy.
Yes, I'm very happy, and to me happiness means having a loving family, having peace really within ourselves, being peaceful, and seeing that our loved ones are well, our friends are doing great, and really there is nothing else I need to be happy, that my people that I care about are well, and I love my job, so there is nothing else I could ask for. And truly this goes back to the same point that I made, the gratitude, because I hope if anybody from Berea listens to this, and especially if my professors or my labor supervisors get to see this, I am happy, and you have contributed in that. You know, I would not be where I am today because without your selflessness, without your love, without your support, and especially when none of you have ever asked anything in return. So I hope you're happy too, and I'm so grateful for the life I have, and again, I would not be where I am today without Berea College. So thank you so much, and happy 2021 everybody. And now I'm going to go ahead and answer personal questions. Adios, hasta pronto.
Hi, this is Beza. Alright, so I am going to answer some of the questions, not all of them. I think for that I would say maybe that I have limitations as a human being. You know, that might sound silly and maybe obvious for other people, but like I always used to have like all these crazy plans for myself and just always end up not accomplishing them. And half of that is because I'm kind of lazy, but the most of it is just, I mean, I'm starting to realize now that most of it is just because that's how people are, you know. Like I would, let's for example, like a silly example, like I would be like, oh, like this weekend I have like 16 hours to be productive, and I would like do this and do that and do that, and I just could never do that. I probably would have like 5 hours of productivity a day, and like I always used to think that was like, oh, like this is my problem, I should work, like I should learn to be more productive. But now I'm just like, no, that's just, you know, that's just how it is to be a person, you know. It's kind of hard to be a person. It's always something on your mind, and the older you get, it becomes even harder to be a person. So it's good to like, instead of trying hard to learn to be, you know, more, it's better to understand yourself and like your pace and how you do things. That way, like, you can accordingly adjust whatever you want to do, and you wouldn't disappoint yourself. And it's important to not disappoint yourself, because like having sort of like self-pride is kind of important, because if you're always mad at yourself, that's not nice. So I guess that's something I learned, so that's what like I'm trying to do more, is to not disappoint myself. So, and not setting super high expectations is, I guess, a part of that.
I think number one thing would be that I am more intentional as to how I spend my time, and I do not regret being you know, a little more generous. In the past, I think every single experience was needed for me to be where I am today and how I am today. But at the moment, I'm very selective. Yes, and I'm very, I cherish my time. And if anything is going to take me away from my family, it better be worth it, because there's really nowhere else I'd be than with my son.
Everything coincided around the time that I graduated. So Andres was able to come here and we started living together. We were still having a long-distance relationship even after we got married. And we were able to start living together after I finished my PhD, and we moved to a more comfortable, larger space. And I started working for a private company. So all of these things coincided. Life after grad school, it feels more settled and organized, and I really like that. It's more comfortable too. But I did like the lifestyle during grad school as well. A major difference is that I feel like I have a better cut-off time between work and life after grad school. So here now I put a specific amount of hours into work, and outside those hours I focus on other things that I want to do. But when I was in grad school, My PhD projects were like my babies. I was constantly thinking about them. I was always reading. I thought about how to approach certain problems even before I go to bed, and sometimes I even dream about them. So I was really focused on that, and I still did the things that I wanted to do, like playing pianos and making music covers. But you know, it felt like everything was wrapped into a role of research and work. But now I feel like I have a better cut-off time between work and other things that I wanted to do. So that's a big difference, and I like that.
I'm not sure which one would be my favorite dish. There are several that could potentially be something that I like. I like making biryani chicken because the process is fun to prepare and to marinate the chicken, and then the different layers of cooking the rice on top, and all of that makes it fun. I'm also enjoying now kung pao chicken or something similar, and some Chinese recipes. In general, things that are stir fry are very fun to do, except for the cutting of carrots part that takes a long time, but anything else is very fun, and the actual cooking process after you're done with all the preparations is very quick and delicious. In terms of the spices, well, we use a lot of masala, curry powder, and well, the most basic one, salt and pepper. What else could it be? Oh yeah, and this red spicy chili. That's almost in every single food that we make. I'm starting to use more turmeric, which is usually already part of curry powder, but it also has a nice flavor on its own if you add it on top. And if I'm in the mood, I can grind some cardamom, but that takes more time. For biryani chicken, I do grind all the spices plus the masala. Right now we don't have masala, but we'll have it back.
My favorite book is The Other Shore by Thich Nhat Hanh. It's a commentary to the Heart Sutra. The original title of the Heart Sutra is Pragyaparamita Sutra in Sanskrit. Pragya means wisdom and Paramita means transcendental. So it's a sutra on transcendental wisdom. It's a sutra where a conversation between Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara happens. So Shariputra is one of the foremost followers of Shakyamuni Buddha. He asks questions to Avalokiteshvara, and the questions that Shariputra asks are the very questions that we also ask ourselves. Certain issues that are perplexing to us, or certain unanswered, uncomfortable questions that keep coming back to us, or some questions that haunt us and we don't really know the answers to this question, and our life goes on and we're still perplexed. So Shariputra asks those questions to Arya Avalokiteshvara, and Avalokiteshvara answers these questions based on the great compassion and great wisdom. Avalokiteshvara is a bodhisattva, or an awakened being. In the sutra, few adjectives are used for Avalokiteshvara. Three of them are most common: Mahasattva, Bodhisattva, and Arya. So Mahasattva is a great being, Bodhisattva is an awakened being, Arya means a noble one, an awakened one. And Arya Avalokiteshvara was an ordinary human being like any of us, and Arya Avalokiteshvara looks into the suffering, the experience of suffering, and through this deep insight of looking into the experience of suffering, Arya Avalokiteshvara realizes the nature of things, which is also known as Shunyata, or doctrine of emptiness. And because of this realization, through this realization, Arya Avalokiteshvara overcomes all kinds of suffering, and at the same time helps others to do so. So in the sutra, he answers, he or she, because Arya Avalokiteshvara is beyond gender. So Arya Avalokiteshvara answers the perplexing questions of Shariputra. There is another commentarial work on the Heart Sutra, which is called the Heart Attack Sutra, a new commentary to the Heart Sutra by Karl Brunhosel. He termed it, his commentary as the Heart Attack Sutra is because when people read the Heart Sutra for the first time, there are certain practitioners, when they read it for the first time, it comes as too much of a shock for them. So and they tend to have a heart attack when they read about the Heart Sutra, or when they read the sutra. So as ordinary beings, or someone who doesn't have much background knowledge on Buddhist philosophy, we may not understand it correctly, and therefore we may not really appreciate the essence of the sutra. The sutra is very striking and remarkable, and as one reads or recites the sutra more and more, I suppose one slowly starts to realize how remarkable it is. And Thich Nhat Hanh, in The Other Shore, he explains the sutra in a way that is easily understood by us, and also at the same time we can begin to appreciate how extraordinary the message is. So that's why this is my favorite book. So if you get a chance, please read The Other Shore. Thank you. And the image that is on display is that of Avalokiteshvara.
Well, I've been a non-student for a very short period of time, maybe a few weeks. I don't miss being a student. I'm really happy being a graduate. But my dreams, or my subconscious, it seems to not know, to not have it very clear that I'm not a student anymore. Last week I had a dream that I had to go to my classes. Hello.
Hi.
This is David. David.
You know my name.
I know.
Oh, is this a video?
This is a video for the crazies.
The crazies. You should ask crazy then.
So I'm...
Okay, so I'll continue telling my story. So
Can I study?
you can study it. I was telling that in my dream I had to go to classes, and then I remembered that I had finished, that I didn't have to go to classes. So it was a relief. Although the part that I miss about being a student is having a lab. I was part of the Happy Lab, where we had common research interests about personal growth, spirituality, happiness. So I miss that part, maybe 10%.
I just finished, not just like 3 months ago, I finished a master's in design, so it's visual experience design, so like user interface design, graphic design, identity design, stuff like that. So I'm now, so I've been working on my portfolio so far. Just kind of cleaning up all the projects I did at school, and now I'm applying to jobs kind of seriously. So that's what I'm doing now. So it's a lot of fun. It's not fun. So wish me luck.
Within the last 5 years, I focused a lot on career, and one of the reasons is because I was, everything was new when I moved to Raleigh. I didn't have anyone. My family is in Myanmar, and Andres is in another state, and also in Bolivia after a while. So I decided to focus a lot on my career improvement and also myself. So with that being said, I think I've become a lot more bold and assertive in the sense that if there is something I want, for example, a more interesting project, scholarships, fundings, I would just go ahead and ask them. I don't have a lot of things that hold me back. I would always seek opportunities, and I will be really proactive about those things. And it has helped me a lot in terms of my PhD career path. And I'm particularly pointing it out because I used to be shyer and not ask for things and thought that, oh, maybe I'm not good enough for those things. But now I feel like there's not much to lose. You would just go ahead and ask, give it your best shot if the opportunities are worth it, and they're worth seeking, and you should not let it pass, and especially not by your own insecurities and fears. You should just take that chance and go ahead and do your best. And I think this is one of the lessons that I learned, and it will do anyone many good.
I am learning Burmese right now, but not in a very active way. So I cannot say too much if it's difficult. From what I have seen, the grammar itself is kind of simple. You only have one base form for the verbs, not like in Spanish where you have to conjugate for every different pronoun. And the tenses are also kind of simple. You have one particle to add to the verb to turn it into future. And in the past, sometimes you don't even need to change it. You can just assume from context, or there is some particle I think you can add to indicate that it's in the past. So in general, I think the grammar is nice and not very complicated. The part that I'm having more trouble with is actually sitting down and putting some time in learning things. My learning has been mostly passive, so I listen to some audios when I go to sleep, and that's it. But I'm usually already kind of sleepy, so it's not advancing at the speed that I could if I put all my mind into it. But no, it's not too complicated in terms of grammar. In terms of pronunciation, probably, because there are many tones and languages and sounds that I don't know how to make yet. And it's hard to practice because I need I need to practice with someone who speaks the language and can tell me the differences, or how to pronounce them, or help me get those. And I think that's the main complication of learning Burmese, is the lack of resources.
So many to choose from.
I think I'm going to divide this question into two. What's my favorite thing about being married? And what's my favorite thing about being married to David? My favorite thing about being married...
Most of it you would get with anybody, but there might be one or two things that are unique to me, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
One of my favorite things about being married is to have a partner. We are a team. We get to work as a team. We decide what we want to eat, where we want to travel, how we want to live our lives. We have common goals. So we are a team. We support each other, and that's something very special. It's
trying to log into Harvard Business Review so I can read some articles about management for an interview. It was like ridiculously difficult. There's nothing to do with what you're talking about.
No. So that's my favorite thing about being married, having the unconditional support of somebody, and also being a support system for somebody. My favorite thing about being married to David is that he is a great communicator. I mentioned before that he loves to talk. He's a big talker. But also, he's a great communicator. He can notice the subtleties of the speech of the person, how the tone matches with your energy, your emotions, how you are feeling based on your tone, based on your facial expressions. So, with that in mind, one of my favorite things about being with David is that I have become a better communicator also. He has forced me.
Oh my god, hugely. She was always wonderful. But there were times before where she wouldn't say anything. And she wouldn't say why she wasn't saying anything, or what that meant, or when she would start saying things again. It's just like all of a sudden someone had pressed mute and she wouldn't talk for 5-10 minutes, half an hour, an hour,
a day. So now, thanks to being with David, thanks to his power, sometimes I feel like I am married to Superman because he's great at everything.
I'm gonna show you the bulging physique. Yeah, hiding under this mild-mannered psychologist's visage.
Is that I have become more aware of myself. That's an amazing thing. It's part of my personal growth, that I've become more aware of my feelings, my emotions. I'm married to a psychologist, so you couldn't expect less. And yeah, I'm very aware of myself. There are many things that I have that I am not aware of, but compared to how I was before being with David, I think I have improved 100% of what I was before in terms of communication. So,
well, I don't know, it depends what your baseline is.
I don't know what my baseline is.
Sleep more, eat healthier foods, and spend even more time with friends, because I miss you guys.
Well, the favorite thing is just living, like being by myself, so I don't have to worry about the existence of someone else. So that's like one more mental energy removed, so that's nice. The least favorite thing is kind of the same thing, that like it's very easy to just like be in your head and like obsess over things. Like if there's something that like you're upset about, for example, it's very hard to get over it if there's nobody around to distract you. And I think in general it's just actually good to like have someone around to like perceive you as a human being, because like if you're always on your own, you kind of forget that you exist sometimes, because you're just in your head all the time. So I think that might be like my least favorite thing.
Well, I like the fact that now we can file our taxes together. That makes this probably gonna be a fun exercise soon. And well, on the other hand, we're not doing anything different that we didn't do before. So in that sense, there's not much of a difference yet. But yeah, taxes and knowing that you have someone there, but I already knew that before getting married, so it's not too much of a change for me.
I do get homesick a lot, and whenever I feel homesick, I chat and call my family more often. It also helps that my sister sends me a lot of photos and videos of potato and eggplant. Oh, they are not vegetables. Potato is my niece and eggplant is my nephew. So I get to see them growing up through media. I also have a pet dog now, and it makes me feel close to home. Andres makes delicious Burmese dishes, so it makes me feel less homesick eating those food. So I'm really grateful and happy about that too.
This is a bonus segment where I answer a stolen question. The question reads, what's the most important life lesson you have learned after graduating from Berea? My most important life lesson has to do with actualizing happiness. We often speak about not to be overly dependent on others in finding happiness. And as we try to avoid it, we develop a tendency to shift that dependency onto ourselves. So we shift the focus inwards, and we think that we can find happiness within ourselves. I think this doesn't solve the problem either, because we think ourselves as being self-sufficient, and we think that we can find happiness within ourselves, and we tend to isolate us from the outside environment. If we truly want to find happiness, and if we genuinely want to transcend suffering, I think we need to go beyond this dualistic treatment of me and others, or us versus them. It's way easier said than done.
I really enjoyed my experience in Berea. I wouldn't change anything that I did. Maybe there is one thing that I would change. Being in Arizona, I'm living in the desert, and I really miss the mountains of Kentucky. I miss the humidity. So if I could, what I would change would be to go hiking more often. Maybe on the weekends when there weren't any activities, go out and go to the pinnacle with friends. So that's one thing that I would probably change if I had the chance to do it, if I had a travel machine.
Well, I think I'm not the best person to ask this to, because I have been given this amazing opportunity because my husband has really flexible work schedule, and he is a wonderful person because it has been so easy to have a very healthy teamwork type of situation when it comes to parenting, because we have very similar outlook and on life and how we want to raise our son, and you know, for us our son is priority. So if I have to teach class or if I have work, we make sure that at least he's completely fully present to make sure that my son feels loved and he has the attention he needs to develop well and learn the things he needs and the tools, you know, he needs to succeed in life. And I think to be more technical and not so abstract, for me the key has been to compartmentalize my day. When my son is awake and my husband has to work, that's it. I'm mom 100%. I do not try to send an email while my son is around trying to play with me. I don't multitask. I am a horrible multitasker. I need to pay my full 100% attention to what I'm doing at that moment. So when my son is awake, and that's it. I am his mom 1000%. I find so much joy playing with him, reading to him. Million times the same book or bringing on to new books. I mean, it's such a joy to spend time with him. So once he has the bedtime or takes naps, then I'm more than happy to use that time to plan lessons, research, read, study, write, etc. But I think in my case, again, it's hard for me to preach anything to anybody, because again, I'm in such a fortunate situation because I truly enjoy all these three aspects of my life. I absolutely adore being a mom. I adore being a teacher. I really enjoy my PhD studies. So none of it seems like an arduous, really heavy task, you know. It all seems like an absolute blessing. So not seems, it is an absolute blessing. So I cannot complain. So my only advice would be not to try to do everything at once, you know. Try to divide. This time is for me to fully dedicate myself to my son, time to write, time to research, etc. And also be very specific. It's also important for me to be very specific when I ask for help.
I don't think I have a favorite place. I think both the places I were and have good things and bad things in kind of like similar way. Like New York was like it was easy to do things, like everything was around. It wasn't that hard to like find apartments or find anything, but at the same time it was really crowded and expensive and stressful. And Berlin, I'm in Berlin now, is like much cooler and nicer and cleaner, and very close to like different places that I would want to travel to if COVID didn't exist. But then the housing situation is absolutely terrible here, so that's a drawback. So yeah, every place I've been to have its good and bad. So I don't know if and maybe it would be the same everywhere. So I don't know, maybe I would never have an answer to this question.
No plan is the plan.
In the way that I do them right now, I don't think they are very similar, because for cooking it's more of a creative process, so I have to be involved in creating the final object that I'm gonna when I'm cooking the recipe, following instructions or just whatever I want to put, but I'm actively involved in that. In the way that I do photography is mostly just capturing what's there. So I go around and take pictures, and I don't get involved in the process of creating the subject of the image. So in that way they are different. Maybe it would be different if I were to deal more in editing the images later. I guess that could be more, have some similarities to cooking. But for now it's very different activities.
Well, my favorite pastime hasn't finished. I mean, hasn't changed since my time in Berea. Is reading. I even bought a Kindle a few months ago. I love reading because I get to enter into a different story. I can imagine things, the things that I'm reading. I get to relax. I also get to improve my vocabulary. Sometimes I read in English, sometimes I read in Spanish. Now I'm learning Portuguese, so soon I will start getting books in Portuguese so I can improve the language. So it's exciting that I get to learn. Another of my favorite pastimes is to engage in contemplative practices. I have been doing Reiki since July of 2020 and I love it. Reiki is the art of healing with the hands. And I like it because it's very soothing. The hands get very hot and I'm a cold person. My hands and my feet are... David agrees. My hands and feet are always very cold. And when I do Reiki, my hands get hot. And I can feel the energy of the other person. I can feel the parts of the body that need healing, the parts of the body that are sick. So I like it because I feel powerful. I feel that I'm channeling energy, spiritual energy.
Well, it was mostly just stuff for my portfolio, but other than that, just for myself. I was learning to make music on the computer, like on a like music production softwares. So that was fun. So I was kind of doing that. I mean, I haven't done it for a couple months, but it's something that I want to keep doing. So yeah, when I get more time in the future, maybe I will keep doing that.
My favorite fictional character, I think it's hard to pinpoint one, but one that comes to my mind is Naruto. It's an anime and some people don't take it seriously, but it's such a nice anime. And Naruto, I like him because he is, you'll have to watch the story, but he has so many reasons to turn sour and hate the people. Growing up, the whole village has shown him, but he found a reason to stay good and find his own happiness. And he is also extremely devoted to his goals. And I really like that aspect of him. And the other thing I like is how he treasures friendships, bonds, and he would never give up on a friend. And he tried to save Sasuke like crazy to the point that I just hated it. But you know, he is so devoted to saving his friends, never knowing when to give up, which may or may not be a good trait. But you know, Carter doesn't have to be perfect. But I like his warm personality and how he manages to stay good despite all the sourness that is thrown to him. It shows how he was able to have, you know, more control over his own happiness and the way that he perceives the world. Another character that I like is Itachi. I like him because, well, I'll have to spoil the story a little bit. So in the story, he killed off his entire clan and he went down in the history as the world's biggest villain. But he did all those things to save his village. He did it for the goodness, the welfare of the village, and to save his little brother. Well, it's such a big sacrifice. It was a very heavy burden for him, but he did it anyway. And his reputation, everything went downhill, and he didn't even care about it. It was not even on his radar. He's a very peaceful person. He hates war. and he did everything that he could to sacrifice so that he could achieve the peace for the village and the world. And he did not even get acknowledged for it at the end. He didn't even care, and he died, and the world did not find out. That kind of sacrifice and his belief system is so strong that it's just very remarkable. I can't help but admire his personality and the sacrifice that he made.
Going along with the previous answer, whenever there were difficulties or whenever I got overwhelmed, I wouldn't talk. I'm the type of person who retrieves, goes back when I need space and I don't communicate, or I wouldn't communicate when I needed space or silence. And as part of our year of growing together, I have become more aware of when I start to become overwhelmed. I sense it in my body. There is the moment, the little click, I'm getting overwhelmed now. And that is hard to do. You have to pay a lot of attention to yourself. You have to do a lot of self-reflection to learn, to become aware of this point when I get overwhelmed. And now I'm able to communicate when I'm becoming overwhelmed, when I need space, when I need silence. Another thing that I have become aware of is I'm highly sensitive. It's a type of personality, you can Google it. There is even the book, The Highly Sensitive Person. I have it here somewhere. And as I get older, I become more sensitive, especially to negative energy. When I get angry or I get upset, even a tiny bit, even when it's unconscious, my body gets sick. If I don't do what I want to do, for example, if I work on a project that I don't want to work, like my spirit doesn't want to work because it doesn't go with me, I get sick. So it's really cool to have this superpower, to be so sensitive, so attuned to what I want, to what my spirit wants, that if I don't do it, if I go somewhere else, I will get sick. So I'm learning to align to what my spirit wants, to what my spirit needs. And that is really cool. I feel that I'm becoming Superwoman since I'm with Superman. Those are all the questions for me. Do you want to add anything?
I'm sorry, I actually haven't been listening. I know that's probably like, it's not what a husband is supposed to do, but I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sure you know what you said was so complete and brilliant and insightful that I don't think there's anything else to add.
Ooh, I'll add one thing. Another favorite activity is dancing. He's a dancer, I'm a dancer. Together, we dance.
Maybe a potential challenge could be that I get to confuse the languages with each other, but in this case I feel that they are different enough. Like the main ones that I'm paying attention to right now is Russian, Italian and Burmese, and they are all very different on their own. So I don't feel like learning one or the other is affecting me, and it's not like they are fighting for time, because I'm not putting enough time in any of them anyways. So I don't find it too problematic. When I'm learning Russian, none of my knowledge in Italian even comes to confuse me, or in Italian nothing that I learn in Russian blocks anything. And in Burmese the same. They're all different sounds, different different alphabets, and different grammatical structures. There are a few similarities that I noticed with Russian and Spanish that makes it easier for me to connect concepts. And Italian is very similar to Spanish in some ways, so I'm maybe mostly learning it just to take advantage of the fact that I already know Spanish.
Oh, this is a sweet question. And a very deep one. My favorite author is most definitely Clarice Lispector from Brazil. Really, rather than sharing a quote, and I just adore her works too much to even attempt you know, not representing it as well as it deserves. I'm going to give you a title. Her work, one of my favorite works by her, is called The Hour of the Star. The Hour of the Star, I believe that's how you translate it in English. And the entire book can be quoted. It's just an incredible writing. Then other writer that I really love is Maria Luisa Bombal. I love Anton Chekhov. I love Edgar Allan Poe. Well, their works. And yes, any work by them, I think, would be an incredible read. What is their philosophy on life, and what is my philosophy on life? Goodness, that's such a deep question. My philosophy on life, it doesn't have to be complicated. As long as our loved ones are well, you know, and we get to do the things we love, there is more than enough. And it's yeah, and happiness is peace. Happiness is peace, and too much emphasis on possessing a lot of things is unhealthy. That would be my, I think, minimalism, not excessive, and not to be excessive in any way, but I think the less we need and the more self-sufficient we are, that brings much more peace and therefore more, you know, happiness. And would you share something you're writing with us? No. Sorry. Oh, this is being an adult and being able to say no. Not yet, at least. And my, you know, my dear friends, when and if anything gets ready for that, you would be the first people to know. And finally, what is the most important life lesson you have learned after graduating from Berea? Enjoy life in a responsible, kind way, but life should be enjoyed. We should be kind, again, to those around us, to nature, to animals. Yes, it does not have to be, we don't need much to be happy. It's take a walk, take care of your health, and enjoy life.
I would advise myself to take more courses that are unique to Berea. For example, taking classes in woodwork, weaving, ceramics, or some other student crafts related courses. I have worked at Broom Crafts for about 1 year, but I wish I have taken these other courses in the student crafts as well. I would like to visit a country or place that would pleasantly surprise me. So I don't know exactly which country beforehand. I had a similar experience when I first visited New Zealand. I was pleasantly surprised with the entire environment and lifestyle of New Zealand. I learned a little bit about Maori culture and wisdom, and my first place of visit in New Zealand was a place very much well known for spiritual healing according to Maori legend. So it has a very, that experience has a very fond memory. And the entire experience unfolded like a pleasant gift to me. So I hope in future I will be able to experience such pleasant surprise.
I don't think I feel much about it anymore because I don't think too much about it, or I don't care too much about that. But previously, it always felt very strange to be one of the few women in the room. So when you walk into the room has like 50 or 60 people, and you're the only woman, and it feels so strange, and it kind of makes you feel limited in the sense that if you make or say something stupid, and you don't want to be stereotyped a certain way, so it feels like you have more responsibilities on the shoulder, and you know, it's just not fair. So there are things like that. You always feel like you have to control what you have to say, but at some point I kind of blocked it out. It doesn't matter if, you know, this is what my opinion, you know, I have also worked hard enough to feel like I could make a voice or some kind of contribution to it, and I will go ahead and say it. And in grad school there have been some situations where you make an argument and it was easily dismissed even before you finish making a point, and another person, another male colleague who would make the same argument, rephrase slightly, and then he gets the acknowledgement and attention. And it is very irritating, and I have been known not to keep quiet about it, and it's not always a good thing, but you know, I think it's better to assert yourself and, you know, speak out when you need to. There are going to be challenges like that here and there, and I think to give, you know, to give less, to not care too much about it, and just go ahead and do what you need to do. I mean, this is not something, other opinions are not something that you can control, but what you can control is what you think and what you say. So I think I could just focus on it, and that's what I did.
My favorite thing about living by myself is enjoying freedom. I don't want to follow a very strict schedule, and my daily routine often changes unpredictably, so I can change it whichever way I want and whenever I want without having to communicate or coordinate with others. So that's the thing that I enjoy most as I live by myself. And I don't have any least favorite thing. I like the entire experience of living by myself.
What do I dream to be like as a person? I think I just want to be like in a state where like I have a stable life, you know, like make as much money as I need only, and once I have that, I just want to be able to do something that I believe like has a purpose or a meaning in a way. So like, it would be nice if I like do something creative, like something has to do with visual arts or music, but if not, you know, just be a successful designer and work on projects or work with people that I find inspiring, or projects that I find inspiring. Yeah, so those are the questions that I wanted to answer, and I feel like my video is going to be like the least quality of one. Sorry for not following Andres's video specifications, but my camera is in my suitcase and I am not going to hold that out of my suitcase, and I don't even have like the tripod, so you know, just be understanding, please, Andres. Don't kill me. All right, bye.
And my best wishes to everybody in 2021. I am so excited to watch your responses and sending so many hugs to all of you. Mwah. Adios.